Finally, we get into conjugating verbs in Arabic. After watching this video, I assure you will not face any problem with conjugating regular verbs in Arabic. Today, we will conjugate regular verbs in past tense, and we will identify the different subjective pronouns that join verbs in this case. The outline of this video are: first, we will identify the required suffixes or connected pronouns used in conjugating past regular verbs. We will practice conjugation together for each type of regular verbs, and finally, we will come up with some key points that will light the candle for you. Before that, subscribe my channel, activate the bell, and like the video. You can also see the previous lessons in the video description below. Let's begin. In the previous lesson, we learned about verb construction. We mentioned that regular verbs in Arabic are of three types: mahmuz, that contains hamza originally; muda'af, which has two subdivisions; muda'afun thulathi, that contains shadda; and muda'afun ruba'i, which has two couples of identical letters. The third type is salim, intact, which has neither hamza nor duplication. Do you know that these three types, al-mahmuz, al-muda'af, al-ruba'i, and al-salim, don't experience any change during conjugation? So we only have to add the required attachments, and that's all. On the other hand, al-muda'af al-thulathi witnesses a little change on its construction when conjugating it. Keep this point in your mind. Now, let's talk about the conjugation process. We mentioned that conjugation is the process of adding suffixes and prefixes to the verb and make the required adjustments. These suffixes and prefixes are subjective and objective pronouns. In the case of past verbs, we only add suffixes. There are no prefixes in the past case. The types of suffixes that are connected to past verbs are listed below. First, ta'ul fa'il literally means the subject ta, and from its name, this is a ta letter that joins past verb in many forms. This is the most common joins used in conjugating past verbs, as it shows up in 6 different formats. Second, na al-fa'ilin. It contains 2 letters, na and alif, and it means the subject's na. And subjects here is plural because this pronoun is used for dual and plural. It takes only 1 format. Third, aliful ithnain, alif of the dual. It's obviously used with dual and it consists of only 1 letter, alif. Fourth, we have waw al-jama'ah, waw of plural. It has 2 letters and it's used for masculine plural. The next one, noonun niswa, noon of women, used for feminine plural. And lastly, we have ta'ut ta'nith, the ta of feminine. It looks like ta'ul fa'il, but it's consonant. We will have a detailed comparison between them by the end of this video. So, these are the suffixes that join verbs in the past tense. It's really important to classify them as vowel suffixes and consonant, mutaharrik wa sakin. Some of them are vowels, which means they can take labels, al-harakat, like fatha, dhamma, or kasra. And others are consonant. They always take sukun. Ta'ul fa'il, na al-fa'ilin, and noonun niswa are vowels. The consonant suffixes are ta'ut ta'nith, aliful ithnain, and waw al-jama'ah. This is important in conjugating the triple duplicated verb to have this distinction in our minds. One last distinction before we go is all these suffixes are subjective pronouns except ta'ut ta'nith, which is only a sign for feminine. I'll begin with the verb fa'ala, As you all know, usually if there is no pronoun, the verb takes the conjugation of the pronoun he, huwa, by default. Another note about past verbs. The case ending, which is a vowel of the last letter, is fatha by default, here. But this case ending might change to sukun or dhammah during the conjugation process. Now, let's go back to the pronouns table we introduced in lesson 4 of this course. We have 3 persons as we know. First person, mutakallim, second person, mukhatab, and third person, ghaib. And each one of them is classified into 6 levels considering number and gender. The first pronoun we use today is ta'ul fa'il, the ta of subject. It joins past verbs as letter ta, with dhamma label for first person singular. أنا فعلت. This is used for both masculine and feminine speakers. A very important note here, the last letter of the verb, which is lam, in this case is becoming consonant. That's why I said فعلت, not فعلت. This was the first shape of ta'ul fa'il. The other 5 forms of ta'ul fa'il are common with second person pronouns. Here is an easy way to find out the conjugation of second person using its own pronouns. Look at the pronoun. Locate letter ta in the pronoun. Copy the letter and what's coming after with the same vowels and join them to the verb. That's all. So here we have the verb as it is. The first pronoun, anta. Start from letter ta. Nothing is coming after. So take it together with its vowel, which is fatha, and add it to the verb to be fa'alta. Anta fa'alta. The second one is similar. Anti. Here, letter ta has the vowel kasra. Take it to the verb فعلتِ. أنتِ فعلتِ. The next one is for dual, أنتما. Here is the letter ta. We will take it and what's coming after. 3 letters, ta, ma, and a, and connect them to the verb. فعلتما. أنتما فعلتما. Only one conjugation for both genders of the dual. You can guess the remaining 2, right? أنتم will take the conjugation فعلتم. And lastly, أنتن فعلتن. Easy, right? In all these conjugations, the last letter of the verb, which is lam, is consonant, remember? Pronouns and verbs of second person are the easiest because they have similar endings. They're easy to the extent that we can sing them. أنت فعلت, أنتِ فعلتِ, أنتما فعلتما, أنتم فعلتم, أنتن فعلتن. The second pronoun is na al-fa'ilin, the na of subjects. It's used with the pronoun we, نحن, in first person. We add it to the verb in both dual and plural. نحن فعلنا. As you may have noticed, the third letter of the verb is also made consonant, and the vowel of letter na is fatha. فعلنا. Let's move to third person pronouns. The first 2 pronouns, huwa and hiya, take no connected pronouns or suffixes. So the verb will be in the default form, فعل. And to differentiate between masculine and feminine, we add تاء التأنيث to the conjugation of pronoun hiya. تاء التأنيث is a consonant ta letter, so the conjugation of these 2 pronouns are هو فعل and هي فعلت. Here in the word فعلت, the last letter isn't made consonant. It's taken the default label فتحة. فعلت. Anyway, 2 consonant sounds cannot be adjacent in a single word. Then, with the dual, we will copy the same two conjugations of singular to the dual, each with its corresponding gender. And then we add a single letter, aliful ithnain, alif of the dual. So the first one is هما فعلا for masculine dual and هما فعلتا for feminine dual. And here, letter ta in فعلتا, which represents تاء التأنيث, became a vowel. It has a fatha sign if you look closer. Why? Didn't we agree that تاء التأنيث is originally consonant? We just said two consonant sounds cannot be adjacent in a single word. We added aliful ithnain, which is a consonant. That's why we converted تاء التأنيث into a vowel by giving it fatha label in order to prevent two consonant sounds to be adjacent. Remain two pronouns. The pronoun hum takes واو الجماعة, which is waw and alif. By adding this pronoun, the last letter of the verb takes ضمة. هم فعلوا. هم فعلوا. And the last one is نون النسوة, which is used with the pronoun هن. It's only noon letter taking the vowel فتحة. هن فعلنا. And again, the last letter of the verb takes سكون. Actually, سكون is the most used case ending in conjugating past verbs. So here is the last image of conjugating verbs. The most common pronoun is تاء الفاعل. It has 6 different formats. One of them is used with first-person pronouns and 5 with second-person. The second one, ألف الاثنين, appeared twice with third-person dual. تاء التأنيث also showed up twice with third-person feminine singular and dual. نا الفاعلين has only one format with first-person dual and plural. واو الجماعة appeared once with third-person masculine plural. And lastly, نون النسوة with third-person feminine plural. Let's remove the conjugations and replace them with the corresponding suffixes. Now you can see which pronoun is taking which suffix. Let's try a different way in representation by listing all suffixes and giving each one its conjugations. تاء الفاعل has فعلت, فعلتا, فعلتي, فعلتما, فعلتم and فعلتن. ألف الاثنين فعلا and فعلتا. تاء التأنيث فعلت, فعلتا. نا الفاعلين فعلنا. واو الجماعة فعلوا and نون النسوة فعلنا. This was the process of conjugating the regular intact verb الفعل الصحيح السالم in the past tense. So any regular intact verb takes the same conjugation no matter how many letters it has. So the verbs كتب, كاتب, استكتب, استمع, شرب are all regular intact. So they take the same conjugation, which means they take the same suffixes. The second type of regular verbs is al-mahmuz, which has hamza originally. This verb follows the same process of the intact verb in past tense. Let's conjugate the verb سأل together. Here is the pronouns table once more. Let's begin with تاء الفاعل for first person singular. It takes a single ta letter with ضمة vowel. سألت, أنا سألت. Conjugation of second person pronouns with تاء الفاعل is the easiest as we saw. Just take the ta and its followers from the pronouns as suffixes and then add them to the verb. And remember, the last letter of the verb with تاء الفاعل is becoming consonant. أنت سألت, أنتِ سألتِ أنتما سألتما أنتم سألتم أنتن سألتن. The second connected pronoun نا الفاعلين. For both dual and plural of first person pronoun نحن سألنا. Third person masculine singular doesn't take any. هو سأل. Feminine singular takes only تاء التأنيث. هي سألت. For the dual, we take a copy of singular conjugations and then we add ألف الاثنين. هما سألا for masculine and هما سألتا for feminine. And remember, تاء التأنيث here becomes a vowel. The last two for plural, هم سألوا and هن سألنا, by adding واو الجماعة for masculine and نون النسوة for feminine. The third type that follows the same conjugation as the quadruple duplicated, المضاعف الرباعي, the verb that contains two couple of identical letters. We gave examples in the previous lesson like زلزل, قهقه, عسعس. This type also follows the same exact conjugation of both intact and مهموز. We add the same suffixes with the same vowels. Let's conjugate the verb قهقه, which means to giggle in the past tense. Starting again with تاء الفاعل, أنا قهقهت, أنت قهقهت, أنت قهقهت, أنتما قهقهتما, أنتم قهقهتم, أنتن قهقهتن. The pronunciation of this verb is very funny. The second connected pronoun نا الفاعلين. نحن قهقهنا, نحن قهقهنا. Third person singular takes none. هو قهقه. For feminine we add تاء التأنيث. هي قهقهت. The dual هما قهقها for masculine and هما قهقهتا for feminine. The plural هم قهقهوا and هن قهقهنا. That was easy. Follow the pattern and everything is going to be fine. The last type of regular verbs, the triple duplicated, المضاعف الثلاثي. Remember, المضاعف الثلاثي is a verb that contains شدة originally, which means two of its radicals are identical, such as مد, هز, شد, سد, including any derived verbs like استمد, اشتد. In conjugating this type of verbs, we need to remember the classification we did in the beginning of this video, when we classified the suffixes that join past verbs into consonant and vowels. Three of them are vowels, متحرك, تاء الفاعل, نا الفاعلين, and نون النسوة, and three others are consonants, ساكن, تاء التأنيث, ألف الاثنين, and واو الجماعة. Here comes the importance of this classification. When conjugating المضاعف الثلاثي, we have two conditions. If the added pronoun or suffix is consonant, the duplication remains the same, one letter with shaddah on top. On the other hand, if the pronoun or the suffix is a vowel, we untie the duplication in two identical letters, and then we add the suffix normally. Actually, the first case is not only happening with adding consonant suffixes, it also happens when the subject is hidden, mustatir, or when the subject is an obvious noun. But let's now focus on the consonant suffix. Let's conjugate the verb hazza, which means shake or vibrate in the past. Going back to the pronouns table, as usual, I'll begin with تاء الفاعل. First step is to determine whether it's a consonant pronoun or a vowel. تاء الفاعل is a vowel. So according to the rule, the duplication will be untied. هزا becomes هازازا. And then we add تاء الفاعل normally. أنا هززت. أنت هززت. أنت هززتي. أنتما هززتما. أنتم هززتم. أنتن هززتن. The same process with the exception of untying the duplication. The second pronoun, نا الفاعلين. First, is it a consonant or a vowel? It's a vowel, so the duplication will be also untied. نحن هززنا. نحن هززنا. Let's move to a third person. The first one, there is no added suffixes. In this case, the duplication remains. هو هزا. The second one, the added suffix is تاء التأنيث, which is consonant. So the duplication remains. هي هزت. The dual is using ألف الاثنين, which is also a consonant, so the duplication remains. هما هزا for masculine and هما هزتا for feminine. And for the plural, the pronoun used for masculine is واو الجماعة, a consonant, so duplication remains again. هم هزوا. And lastly, for feminine plural, we use the vowel pronoun نون النسوة, so the duplication will be untied. هن هززنا, and that's all. So the first step is to indicate whether the added suffix or pronoun is consonant or vowel, and that will determine whether we'll leave the duplication or untie it. But the conjugation itself never changed. It's the process of adding each suffix to its corresponding pronoun. For first person and second person, we untied the duplication, and for third person, we leave it the same except for the last pronoun, hunna. We also untied the duplication. I will stop here for today. I don't want this video to be long. In the next video, we will be having some key points about conjugation, and of course we will be having many exercises using various examples of regular verbs. Don't forget to subscribe my channel, activate the bell, and share the video. See you later.